Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, March 25th, 2016, and unlike dates, I can make a second podcast. I have total control over that. So this episode should be a lot better than the first one. I did actually plan some things out. We still don't have any intro music, drops, sound effects, outro music, bit music, no music. I'm still working on all that. But if you are listening to the second episode, then thank you. Or not. I mean, really, you guys don't really do anything, but enjoy. We're going to try and make this episode maybe a little bit shorter. When I do talk, I do forget what time it is because I never really talk because I don't have anyone to talk to. Except you people, who I love. But, we've got some news and politics. We've got answers to the Would You Rather and the most annoying quizzes. Some new sponsors, which I'm very excited to tell you about. I've got announcements of a website, an actual podcast where you'll actually be able to download it from the iTunes Store and possibly somewhere else if you are smart and don't have an iPhone. And then we're going to end with a great how-to that should help you this coming up weekend. I did just check the email, and we did actually get some real emails. Well, whether or not they're real, I'm not sure, but I didn't write them, unlike the ill-prepared fake emails that I prepared the first episode. But anyways, you know what? Let's get into it. So in news, we had the Brussels attacks in Belgium, and when I heard it was radical Islamic terror, I was shocked. I mean, you don't think about that. You never think to yourself, when an attack like this happens, the last thing that comes into your head is this is one of ISIS's doings, or Daesh, or Daesh, whatever Lurch calls it. You never put those two together. So prayers and thoughts to the people in Belgium. I'd have some advice for them, but I'm not Belgian, so I'm not going to tell them what to do. In other news, Obama is a commie, but that's not news. So there's the news and politics. We'll try that next time. I do like news and politics, but again, I didn't prepare for it. But let's get into what people really care about, because it's the answers to the Would You Rather and the most annoying quizzes. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, these are just opinions. They can't be right or wrong. But that's not true, because, like I said to a good friend of mine, not only is my opinion correct, but it's the only one that matters. So I don't even know why I do the quizzes. I could just tell you which one is better. But I want to get you involved. I need the likes. I need to know that the people are paying attention to me because I'm just that lonely. But let's see. The first one is the which is more annoying answer is people who brake before an intersection with a green light, like a lighted intersection with a green light, and then right before they go through it, you see them tap on their brakes. That is more annoying, and let me tell you why. Confusion at a four-way stop is understandable because a lot of people never learn how a four-way stop works. Although it is irritating, it's understandable in the same way as how you can understand why someone would vote for Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton. It's still irritating, but it's understandable. Braking at an intersection with a green light right before you go through it is basically, it's like voting for Hillary Clinton. Like, there's no good reason to do it. And if you do that, you're an idiot, and we should flay your skin and throw you in the salt mines. What happened to the salt mines? Do you remember growing up? I sound so old. The robots would come and they'd throw you in the salt mine? Are those just nightmares I had? Maybe I'm the only one that ever understood this, but there's no good reason at all to ever tap your brakes before you go through an intersection while it's a green light, even while it's a yellow light. In fact, if it's yellow, you should never touch your brakes. You should go right on through. That's what yellow means. It means hurry up and get through the intersection. So that's right. So if you answered, what did you answer? If you answered four-way stop, you're wrong. If you answered polite people at a four-way stop, you're double wrong. That is as wrong as it gets. The most correct answer in that case would be people who brake before going through a lighted intersection with a green light. Those people should be rounded up and shot. And then we should take their families and send them to Mars. It'll be like a prison colony, like a new Australia. Except filled with not idiots. Well, I guess it would be filled with idiots because they're the people who chose to marry and then produce offspring with people who tap their brakes before they go through an intersection. So let's get into... speaking of transitions, let's transition, just like Bruce Jenner to Caitlyn Jenner, let's transition into the next answer for, which is the Would You Rather. The Would You Rather this week was, what was it? Would you rather have a wedgie 4 out of 7 days of the week, or have all the audio in your life out of sync with the source of the audio? So if you were listening to watching someone talk, excuse me, if you were watching someone talk and their mouth would be out of sync with the audio would be out of sync with their mouth, and that, it's really irritating. But the answer with this one of Would You Rather is, the correct answer is wedgie. The wedgie is the correct answer, and I'll tell you why. There is de facto women's underwear, and I guess dudes' underwear too. I don't know how many dudes that wear it. But there's de facto women's underwear that's just there to give you a wedgie. And, I mean, if a woman can do that, then not only can a man do it, but he can do it much better. I don't know how much that's as simple as it gets. I can't think of anything to expound upon other than, that's right. So if you answered the wedgie, then you are correct. If you're a girl that answered wedgie, it's not really fair. But if you're a guy that answered, then you're right. So that's that. And you know what? I'm telling you, we had a couple good submissions this week for the Would You Rather. And I told you people not to do it on Facebook, to send it through email, because I'm not going to go through all the Facebook. I'm not going to go through the page. It doesn't do things chronologically because it's an idiot. And I'm not going to search through there and have someone, I didn't get mine. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. So please just send an email. It's not hard. You people email all the time. I know. Well, you don't. You probably don't. You know what? I may change it for Facebook. I am desperate. Well, I'm not that desperate. I'm a little bit desperate. It could keep going up, though. I have been known to act desperate at times. If you don't text back right away, then I have been known to maybe drive past your home at 3 a.m. and hide in your bushes and make sure you're okay. Or maybe, I put on a face mask and I learn how to lockpick that night and I go into your apartment and I just make sure that, everything's okay. I'm not saying I've done that. I'm not saying I've ever thought about doing that. I'm just saying that those things can happen to some people that may or may not text me back. It just depends. It depends mostly on your gender or sex, I guess, because gender is what you think you are, and then the sex is what your body says you are. We're not going to get into that now. We'll get into that later. We don't really need to get into that now. But speaking of not getting into it now, let's not get into the first new sponsor. Oh, wow. Puberty just... excuse me. I know that's not pleasant to hear, but puberty just ended for me. It's been a crazy 16 years. But hopefully, with the end of puberty, I can finally become a man that people keep telling me to do. They just keep telling me to, graduate and get married and go on dates. And, why? I know people that are married and that are graduated, and they're not that happy. In fact, if you show me a married person who's graduated that's happy, I'd be surprised, because I haven't met anyone like that. What was I talking about? Oh, our new sponsor. Everyone, welcome our new sponsor, AOL. AOL stands for America Online. This is great. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this, but this is a wonderful CD-ROM a new invention called the CD-ROM, and what you can do, AOL has this offer where you can go to like Walgreens or Rite Aid. You go to the checkout stand when you're going to buy your gum or your calamine lotion, and they'll have there at the checkout stand these CD-ROMs where you get like 50 free hours of internet access. 50 free hours of internet access on a CD. That's impressive. I mean, that's Star Trek quality technology, if I do say so myself. Let me tell you some cool things you can do on this America Online. I know I'm blowing a lot of your people's minds right now because you go America Online. It's patriotic and it's new. So what's not to like? Well, you can chat with your friends with this thing called instant messaging, where you create a username, something like, I don't know. I'll just think of something off my head. Calendar Magnet 125. Calendar Magnet 1. Those aren't the things I'm looking at right now. But that is a unique username that you can use to identify yourself as when you talk to people online. Now, you can talk to friends, but another cool thing with this America Online is things called chat rooms, where you can talk to strangers, people you don't even know. You can make friends this way, And the best part about this is you don't even have to be honest with who you are. You don't have friends right now because of the person that you are. Because you're fat, because you're ugly, because you smell bad, because you're an architect, because you have type 1 diabetes. These reasons are what's holding you back from having friends. You could be, I think, Fijian? I can't remember what he is. You could live in Bountiful. There's so many reasons why you don't have friends. You could be subscribed to this podcast and listen to it, and your friends could hate you for that. Or you don't have any friends. This could be the reason why you don't have any friends, but that doesn't matter. Because with America Online, you can pretend to be someone else. You can, make up everything about your life and get people to like you. You can say that, you have a full head of hair, or that you're not fat, or, you could pretend to be, I don't know, a 14-year-old girl and, talk to 40-year-old guys and catfish them. Catfishing is when you pretend to be someone you're not so you can get people to like you, which is kind of, it's like being a friend. Kind of. They like you. Not that it's you. They like the thing you made. It's like playing a video game. What you can do with America Online is you can make your life into a video game. I joined a chat room the other day, and I met a guy named Jeff who lives in his parents' basement and collects women's toenails from salons in the greater Tuskegee area. Doesn't sound like a great friend, but I only talked to him once. He kept asking for pictures. I don't want to get into details too much, but Jeff, if you're listening, hey buddy, be careful out there collecting those toenails. I remember last time you went to a Korean salon and they didn't take too kindly. I know the Koreans. They're wonderful people, but they are very strong. Stronger than they look, especially the women. But America Online. So welcome into the show, everyone. America Online. Go to Walgreens, Rite Aid, pawn shops, garbage bins, and grab your CD. Get your 50 free hours of internet access, the interwebs. Join a chat room. Create a new ID, live on the internet, and be someone you're not so people will like you. So, yeah, thank you, America Online, for sponsoring the show. And, while we're at it, just because we're already about 14 minutes in, the next one's the last thing is take a little bit of time. So let's just go to our next sponsor. And this is a great movie. Last time the show, we talked about Thunder Gun Express. This movie, actually, we have a trailer. My audio setup isn't too great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to face the microphone to my computer, and we're going to listen to this movie trailer. The movie is called Jan Quadrant Vincent 16. So let's take a listen. What's going on? All right, hold on. We're having technical difficulties. We will fix this. It's just hang with me here. Hang with me. Oh, I wonder if it's going to just record on there. It might. Hold on. So, how are you guys doing today? Are you guys doing good? Yeah? Having fun? Everyone's doing great? Alright. You know, we're just going to play it on my phone, because I think that my microphone is acting as a thing. But anyways, you guys are just wonderful. Love you guys. You guys have any plans for the weekend? Don't you hate when people ask you if you have plans for the weekend? Like, what does it matter to you if I have plans for the weekend? So what if I'm going to stay inside and watch fail compilations on YouTube until 3 a.m. while, eating an entire bag of Cheetos with chopsticks so I don't get my fingers all, orangey? Like, what does that matter to you? How does that... You think that just because I don't go on dates on Friday and Saturday night, that makes me a loser? You think that just because, nobody will get back to me means I don't have any friends? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Is it so all my friends moved away, they got married, and have kids and responsibilities, that I don't feel alone? I love my single twin bed, and I love waking up by myself every morning. So don't even worry about it. Don't even think about it. But I hope you guys are gonna have a good weekend. Anyway, okay, so I've got it up. This is the movie, Jan Quadrant Vincent 16. Let's take a listen. Oh, this is an ad. Sorry, I'm gonna turn that off. Technical difficulties at the moment, in case you didn't notice, but we'll fix it. Next time I'll plan this out. This is a little bit better. It's not that much better, but here we go.
Calling all Jan Michael Vincents! Calling all Jan Michael Vincents! In a world where there's 8 Jan Michael Vincents. We need 1 Jan Michael Vincent to Quadrant C! We need 2 Jan Michael Vincents to Quadrant E! And 16 quadrants. There's only enough time for a Jan Michael Vincent to make it to a quadrant. He can't be in 2 quadrants at once. Hey Rick, who is Jan Michael Vincent? Oh man, I'm trying to remember, Morty. Jan Michael Vincents are used up. I need a goddamn Jan Michael Vincent! Is it important that we know who Jan Michael Vincent was in order to get this? Nope. I refuse to sign the legislation that allows more than 8 Jan Michael Vincents to a precinct. This January, it's time to Michael down your Vincents. Jan Quadrant Vincent 16. Whoa, that's
There it is, folks. Jan Quadrant Vincent 16. Due to the audio technical difficulties, I will post that advertiser on the Facebook page so you can take a look. I would like to thank them again for sponsoring the show. They gave me 50 cents and half a bag of eaten peanuts. Honey roasted, though, so, those cost a little bit extra, don't they? But, speaking of transitions and the fact that I can't do them and that they're bad and I don't have any, let's transition, like Zoe Tur, into some announcements I have for next week before we get to our last bit. But this next coming up week, I will have a website, a actual podcast, as in you don't have to go to YouTube to listen to it. What you can do is go to the iTunes store and download it. You can subscribe to it. I'm going to try and figure out how to make it work for Androids or non-iPhones. I'm not that smart with computers. My computer does have 200 gigs of cache memory, I believe. That's about all I know, but that is going to happen. And then I do have also a logo contest coming up for the 2 people that are listening that are just good friends. The rest of you, I could care less if you were picked up by a pterodactyl and thrown into a volcano. But for this guy Jeff, sup Jeff, and probably I bet Garrett would listen to this. I'm not sure. We're gonna bring Garrett on the show one day. That'll be good pod right there. But anyways, we're gonna. I need a logo, and I said before on the Facebook page that it's gonna be a Taco Bell meal. I am an economics major. I've been an economics major for going on 7 years, so. There's a good chance I know a little something or two about economics, and a big part of economics is incentives. And so I'm going to incentivize you people to draw, Photoshop, take a picture of something, a logo, and it's got to have something that identifies the brand of an unsuccessful, unplanned, not that well thought out podcast. And then the name, A Face for Radio. I'm working on trademarking. It's like $375. I only have that right now. And if Hillary or Bernie is elected president, or this Merrick Garland guy gets on the Supreme Court, ammo prices are going to shoot up, gun prices are going to shoot up, and it's going to cause problems in my life. But anyways, so, if you have artistic ability, if you don't have artistic ability, design a logo, submit it to the Facebook page, or, you can email it to theaffrshow@gmail.com, theaffrshow@gmail.com. And you know what? The winner will get... Let's start out with $50. We'll start out with $50. I will PayPal it to you. And I'm not going to, PayPal you $50 so you get to collect like $47. I'm going to give you, after PayPal takes its cut, you will have $50. I'm going to... It's like it's like, when they say you get a quarter pounder hamburger, but that's before cooked weight. I'm going to give you an after cooked quarter pounder, $50. $50. Do you want books? I'll give you some books too. We'll start out with that. Incentives might change. I don't really think any of you are going to do it. So prove me wrong, but you can't because I'm always right. So that's coming on. Next week I do plan on having a guest, and he'll actually be interesting. I'm going to contact him this weekend and see if we can't get him in the studio / my room. A good friend of mine. But, as I said before, let's get to the end of the show. It's running a little bit long. That's what she said. And this coming up weekend is the Holy Festival, Holi, or Holly. I don't know what it's pronounced. Out here in this area, we call it the Color Festival. And what this is it's a Hindu festival. They celebrate a lot in India and Nepal, and now it's kind of spreading to Southeast Asia where they actually practice it. But anyways, it's a festival where we culturally appropriate Indian culture, except all of their, old world diseases, unclean drinking water, filthy rivers filled with human filth and dead bodies, and pooping at the train tracks and gang rapes. We just leave all that in India, and we take the good parts. Because we're Americans, and that's what we do. But if you've never heard of the Color Festival, be prepared to hear about it this weekend. And then, be prepared to... If you're a girl, you'll get excited. You'll go, I want to take my husband or boyfriend or my girlfriends and go to this. And then, I don't know why, but I went 6 years ago. About 6 years ago. With Emily, and it was fun. Of course, we don't need to get into that, but it was. Did I say it was fun? It was enjoyable, kind of. Anyways, this how-to this week is how to prepare for the Color Festival, and I will teach you people today what the Color Festival is, what to expect when you get there, how to do it. And if you don't want to be there, how to not do it. But basically what it is, it's a festival where you throw colored powder, which is actually the ashes of all the Indians that have ever been cremated over, the past 50 years or so. And they're different colors, and the different colors are the different castes. So you have the Untouchables, and then you have at the bottom, then you have the Brahmin at the top. And in between you have, I forget what their names are. But anyways, depending on what caste they were in when they get cremated, and then they put different colors into their ashes, and then they sell them to us in the United States. But what you do is you take these colored papers and you throw the powder into strangers' faces and eyes, and you ruin their good time because you were dragged there by your girlfriend or wife because she said, no, that's fine, we don't need to go, I'll just work instead. And then you say, oh, okay, thanks, Rachel, you're the best. But this will come back to bite you in the ass later. You know that, you're going to get home from work and she's going to be mad, and you're going to go, what happened? And then it's going to blow up into this big thing. And but that's basically what it is. So that's what it is. Let's get into how to celebrate it. Like I said, I went here about 6 years ago with Emily. We broke up about 5 years ago, but it's fine. There's no hard feelings. I'm 28, and I sleep in a twin bed, and it's fine. Just, staring at a wall all night. That's fine. But, yeah, anyways. In order to celebrate, you should be white, preferably a white girl. I don't know why other races don't really celebrate it, at least here in the States. But, they might. I don't see too many of them. But if you're a white girl, it's kind of like you have to. There's the switch turns on inside your body and says, I need to go to the color festival and put on a white t-shirt and get covered in color that nobody cares about, and then I need to ruin everyone's day. And if you're a white girl whose hobbies include meeting new people and having fun, then this is your mecca. You have to go here at least once in your life. But what you want to do is you want to wear a white shirt, and this is going to help people. This will help you understand which caste you will be reincarnated into next. Whether you'll be an owner of a 7-Eleven, a cab driver, a YouTube video maker whose English I cannot understand, a community college math teacher whose English I can't understand, or, a child slave that will probably die putting together some rug that some German's going to buy. So wear that white t-shirt so that you can know what you'll be next. So what you want to do is you want to head to the color festival. You want to buy these colored bags of ashes. And then what you do is you go around and you throw them at people. And then, of course, some butthole will be there with a camera, and he'll try and coordinate it so he can put it on YouTube, and, like nobody cares. But anyways, that's celebrating. Going to the festival and celebrating is actually the least amount of celebrating you'll do. All celebrating of the color festival will be done after. And so after you go and you're covered in all of this, you want to go into as many public areas as possible and talk as much as possible, as loud as you can, about how much fun it was, and get your stupid colored powder all over everything and piss off everyone who works there. Go to the mall and rub up against the walls and get powdered color all over everything. Go to some restaurant and sit down and ruin the waiters and the staff's good time by filling it with your filth. You need to do that. That's part of the color festival culture. Don't forget to remind your stupid friend Rebecca to bring a towel, because, you don't want to ruin the interior of your dad's Audi, because, you just know that, Rebecca is going to space it because she's so into Jackson, because he's, head of the lacrosse team. Who even plays that? That's what Pocahontas' boyfriend plays, and I am not going to date an Indian. At least not that kind of Indian. They don't even have cool festivals. When was the last time you went to a cool festival that, a Native American had? And that's what I thought. So, remind Rebecca to do that. The next thing you want to do is post as many awful pictures to every social media outlet you belong to show everyone how good of a time you're having. This is important because if people don't know you're having a good time, how much of a good time can you really be having? If you don't spend your time taking pictures that you're never going to look at again, posting them to Instagram, Facebook, and whatever else you young crazy kids are doing nowadays, then are you really having fun? It's like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, doesn't make a sound, If you have fun and don't post a picture so everyone else can know you had fun, did you really have fun? You really want to think about that. Is life about doing what you want and enjoying it, or is it about gaining the false, fake respect and like of people you don't care about so you can feel good about yourself? Just take a moment to think about that. Also, if Brockton likes that whore Rebecca's photo, I am just going to die. Okay, Brockton is so cute. He went to Lone Peak. Ugh, to die for. Now, that's if you're able to do it. Now, if you're unable to go because your husband made you work instead, if you're an adult, if you hate teenagers, people, or poison in your eye, make sure you check social media and see all the pictures from it. You can then be super jealous that your life isn't as good as theirs and start to think that you're never going to be happy and that it's unfair that they get to have all the fun. It's not fun, so don't worry about it. You can also use this as a justification to be mean to your husband or boyfriend. Notice how I'm not doing this on the flip side. There's no man that wants to go and then his girlfriend or wife says we're not going. That doesn't exist. That's like Sasquatch or my girlfriend. Those things those don't exist. This is some advice. Now let's get into some advice for the guys. If you're going to be dragged along by a woman to this, and if you have successfully tricked her into thinking you're excited to go because you really don't need to deal with that right now, here are some tips to survive. Here are some things that I have learned in my many years of being emotionally unavailable to help you deal with this. So what you want to do when you get there, you say, there's going to be a ton of people. You say, just in case we get separated, have a designated place where you'll meet up every, 20 minutes or so. You can then go to that spot and play Candy Crush. Or, if you're smart and you don't have an iPhone, which means you are smart, you can download a Game Boy emulator and play Pokemon Red. Because if you download Pokemon Blue, then you're an idiot. Because we all know Charmander is the best starter ever. But I do want to caution you. This can be a little bit dangerous because she probably will ask, why would we be separated? We'll be holding hands the whole time. Now you're screwed because your response will be, because men are incapable of editing the truth to protect people's feelings, but your response will probably be something like, oh yeah, you're right. She will see right through this. So use her predator vision, and her active camouflage, triple laser sensor to see right through this. And you will argue about this later. Probably on the car ride home after you don't take good enough pictures. And that will be something that you will need to deal with. So tread lightly. But, if you don't think, if your girlfriend's too smart or wife to go that route, here's something you can do. I like to call it spite. Spite is something, it's great. Spite is a powerful emotion and response, and it's one of the best motivators out there. But what you can do is you can take this time that is being ruined by you, that your time is being ruined, to ruin other people's times. You can walk in front of their photos, get behind them. They're going to delete them, but it's still frustrating for them. You can throw powdered, ashes into their eyes. Ask them to take off their sunglasses. You can take a picture and then just, huck it right in their eyes and watch them yell and get mad. Other people's misery will make you feel better. That is a fact. That is 100% true. If you can bring everyone, happiness is relative, It's not that you're happy. Like, your happiness also depends on the people's around you, whether or not they're happy. Because if they're happy too, then how happy can you actually be? So what you need to do is take people's, you need to make them beneath you in happiness. At that point, you will be above them in happiness, which means you're actually happy. It's important in life to look at the people around you and see how happy they are. Then you can decide how happy you are. Because, again, happiness it's not a personal thing. It's a societal thing. You're only happy if everyone around you isn't as happy as you. It's a zero-sum game. Like, an economy. The reason you don't have money is because Bill Gates has more money than you, which is why we need to tax him and take all of his money and spread it. You need to spread it, but you can't spread happiness. You can only spread unhappiness. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone ever spreading happiness. Not even Santa Claus. Santa Claus gives coal to bad people. So what you do is you make all the other kids be bad, and then they get coal, and then you get presents. So that means you're happy. Because if your brothers and sisters get presents and your friends get presents, that doesn't mean that you're happy. Because you also get presents, but they also got presents. I think I've made my point clear enough, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Another thing you can do is you can talk about this cultural appropriation and how the people here don't even understand the religious significance of the holiday, and make some remark about Utah that will make yourself feel better, even though you're here with all of them and you're an idiot. That is one route to go. You could put on, really, really tight jeans that don't reach the tops of your shoes, or the bottoms. Wear a button-up shirt and then do up that top button. Grow a weird mustache that makes you look like a pedophile. And get some thick rimmed glasses and just shave off half your head. But if you do that, or have a man bun, either one. If you do that, then you can talk about cultural appropriation and people will believe you. It's like dressing up. It's like, I don't do this, but it's like if you want to put on a nightie, or women's clothing and pretend that you're a woman. There's nothing wrong with that, At least that's what people that I met in this chat room told me, and I trust them. But, but if you couldn't go this year because there was no one to go with, just remember, there's always next year, and you'll be just as alone and a lonely sad sack then as you are now. So, there you go. If you plan on attending the Color Festival this weekend, use this advice to either have a good time or ruin other people's good time. So that's the how-to for this week. Next week, we've got some personal advice. People did actually send in real emails. Again, I already said this, didn't I? Whether or not they're real or not, but we did get emails not from me about personal advice that we'll get to. You'll be able to see my insane amounts of brilliance, my inability to find the correct word to say. And we'll get to some of that, and we'll get some next Monday. We'll have details on the real podcast, not just audio clips loaded to YouTube, and our first guest will be next week. So thank you for listening. Enjoy your Friday. Have a good weekend. It's Easter Sunday. That'll be good. Tomorrow's Saturday. Spend it doing whatever you want to do. Sleep in. Eat bad food. Go to work. Just do whatever you want. Well, until next time, have a wonderful day, and this has been A Face for Radio.